and I got my first client in month 8 of starting the business. So 8 months of no income, it was absolutely difficult. And for me, that was a very important moment for me. It's either you prove it or you sink.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, lovely audience. Depending on where you're watching us from, this is Kunle Olufemi with another exciting episode of Adventures. As you know, on Adventures, we seek to bring you the inspiring stories behind the brands and the businesses that you see around you every day. By bringing you their stories, we believe that by learning from their mistakes, by hearing the things they've done right, we believe that we can help you achieve faster success faster by avoiding the mistakes that they made on their own journey. Today, we have an exciting guest in the studio that will be sharing another exciting story with us. Now, before I, you know, before I bring him on to share about himself, I will just read a little profile about him. He's no other person but Mr. Abasiama Idaresit. Mr. Abasiama Idaresit is a Nigerian technology entrepreneur, best known for shaping the early waves of digital marketing and digital infrastructure across Africa. Born in Calabar, he studied information systems and management at the London School of Economics and later earned an MBA from Manchester Business School. This training prepared him for a transformative career in Africa's fast-growing digital economy. He founded Wild Fusion, which began as a digital marketing agency and grew into Fusion Holdings, an African conglomerate operating in Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. His leadership has earned him global recognition, including listing by Forbes Africa as one of the 10 African internet millionaires to watch. Today, Abasiama Idaresit is regarded not just as a digital pioneer, but as a strategist who champions building Africa's financial rails and data infrastructure to support the continent's next phase of economic growth. Welcome with me, Abbas, as we popularly call him. Right. So, good afternoon, Abbas, and thanks for coming on the adventures.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle, for having me. Absolutely a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, like I said earlier, we just we keep this very conversational, right? No pressures, and I just want you to, tell us a little bit about yourself, our audience, a little bit about yourself, what you do. As I normally jokingly say, that you never can tell your next customer, and I know that you're already a big, businessman, right? But your next customer may be on my timeline, right? So if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and the scale of your impact, I think that will be a good start. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. And hey, guys, listeners, really, really great to be on the show today. I'm looking forward to taking you on a journey. And I sincerely hope that I can share and someone would learn from my mistakes, especially so you don't make them. My name is Abasiama Idaresit, popularly called Abbas. You can just call me Abbas anytime, any day. I started Wild Fusion many, many moons ago. Then it was pre-Instagram, pre-Facebook, pre-Twitter. There were dinosaurs on the street. So it was very, very, it was very early days, to be honest, for the concept of digital marketing, because digital marketing as of that time was completely unknown. You had traditional forms of marketing, the radio, the billboards, the TV, prints. That was all people were doing back in the days. There was no Instagram, no Twitter, no Snap, no WhatsApp. So what we had then was Yahoo, and MSN search, Bing. That's formerly, formerly Bing search. MSN search was then called, it was MSN search first before Bing, and Facebook as of that time. So it was very difficult. Yes, it was a blue ocean, but absolutely difficult, Kunde, getting the business off the ground. Absolutely difficult, knocking
This would be
on
like
doors.
like 10, 15 years ago.
2010.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So knocking on doors and nobody wanted to listen. I would spend about 90% of my pitch duration training and educating people about the product, and 10%, 5% pitching. So it was overly difficult, weeks down to months and months to quarters, and no income. No income. And you know what that does to an entrepreneur? You survive or it breaks you. Pressure from all sides. Family, dad, mom, we've spent so much money on your education. Listen, man, you
Education.
better just get a job. Call Uncle
What
this, call Uncle
ROI?
that. We want returns on investments. Call Uncle this, call Uncle that. Listen, we can't just keep waiting for you, man. This whole thing you're talking about, listen, it's going to come, but maybe it's in another 5, 10 years or whatever. Cut the long story short, I persevered and I got my first client in month 8 of starting the business. So 8 months of no income, it was absolutely difficult. And for me, that was a very important moment for me. It's either you prove it or you sink. So for me, I put in every single thing I had, day and night. And from there, one became 10, 10 became 100, 100 became 1,000. And over again, more clients started coming, people started seeing the results, case studies, and all of that. So, and we evolved from just being a digital marketing agency, Wild Fusion, to being a technology holding company. That's Wild Fusion Holdings, with subsidiaries with fintech subsidiaries, digital marketing subsidiaries, a training center. The fintech subsidiaries is a licensed agency bank by the central bank, so that's still part of the the Wild Fusion Holding portfolio. And yeah, other than that, I've also done a little bit of angel investment and venture capital. So for me, it was very important to not only support the infrastructure, but also to invest in other technology companies over that period of time. So that was really, really critical. And in investing in young, budding technology company, there are so many lessons you can share. There are also so many lessons you learn as an angel investor and also as a venture capitalist. You make some money, you lose a lot of money while you're learning until you get to a point where you know the frog to kiss and the frog that will turn to a
Folks.
prince. You don't go around,
Yeah.
tapping on everyone and all of that. So, yes. So, in a nutshell, what I do now day to day, circling back to your question, Mr. Kunle, it's I'm responsible for the holdco, ensuring the profitability of the subsidiaries, and also very importantly, growing the conglomerate premium even more. Conglomerate premium basically means synergizing the different subsidiaries so that
Okay,
way
sure.
there's
That.
economy of scale, there is cost reduction, profitability improves, and there's a synergy between the subsidiaries. If you don't do that well, you suffer from what they call conglomerate discount, where the different systems or subsidiaries are not effectively increasing the ROI of the group or the ROI of the holding company.
Got it. Got it. And that is super helpful. Now I'm so tempted to start getting into the details of that because things like this kind of excite me, but I will hold myself back a little bit, right, and try and follow the script. Thanks a lot, Abbas, for sharing all
You're
of that.
welcome.
I guess if you, for the sake of our viewers, if you can just I was looking at your website before I asked that question, and I saw some big names on the website in terms of client base that you serve. I think I saw Nestle. I saw a couple of
Not
like
Nestle, Unilever. Don't put me
was
in
it
trouble.
Unilever? Yeah, Unilever, and yeah, and yeah, it must have been Unilever. Yeah, in my head I kind of mixed it up. Now, will you be able to share just some of the clients that you serve right today in terms of your digital marketing outfit and in the fintech? If you can share a little about the subscriber base, just to give an idea of the scale of what you're doing, I think that'll be very helpful.
Right. So the digital marketing we have been working with Unilever for so many years, well over a decade, and Unilever, as you know, it's an FMCG, fast-moving consumer good company with multiple brands, the great brands like Knorr and Close Up and Pepsodent, all those great brands. These are all part of the Unilever portfolio. And we do service Unilever across multiple countries, not just in Nigeria alone. Not only Unilever, we have a number of other clients, including Coca-Cola, including Lafarge, Diageo, Guinness, and all of that. So over years, we have built very strong relationship of delivering value and supporting their expansion plans, not just in Nigeria but in Africa. We understand the African market very well. We understand the consumer very well. We understand the terrain. So we do help these global brands to succeed in our market because when they succeed, it has a multiplier effect on the local economy. I'm sure you've seen in the news in the last couple of years the barrage of headwinds the FMCG industry faced. Some of them folded up and some of them left the country. It's so important that the service providers that we offer optimal service at the right price so they can survive, they can grow, they can thrive in markets like ours. And because if that happens, more people are retained, more jobs are retained. There's an entire ecosystem built around these organizations. As regarding the fintechs, we just received our license, so we're still at a very early stage. So in terms of numbers, I won't be explicit on the numbers, but we are still at a very early stage. And I'm really excited at what we're doing in that space, building out the infrastructure, partnering with other organizations, and rolling out different types of services, from the cash in, cash out on your POS device, to payment and transaction services. So that's all part of the ecosystem. And our training business has been in existence for about 10 years. It's very important because we all think about physical infrastructure. We all think about roads, bridges, airports, electricity, but there's also a key infrastructure that is so important: human infrastructure, people. If you don't build human infrastructure, or if you don't invest in people or provide the capacity or the opportunity for these ones to develop their capacity, then the sheer size of our population becomes detrimental to the country. 250 million people in a country that are untrained, it's overly risky.
Disaster, disaster in the
It's overly risky.
making.
So for me, building out the infrastructure for capacity building was so critical and so important. So that's why we have different types of technology training services, from digital marketing to
Okay.
cybersecurity to artificial intelligence to data analytics, to growth marketing. All of these are all focused and geared towards impacting and improving human
People.
capital and infrastructure. Yeah. So that's just a snapshot, like a bird eye view over the group and what we do
You do.
from day to day.
Thanks a lot, Abbas, for sharing that. If I may ask, when did you start the training outfit, and like how many people do you think have gone through your, training systems in one form or the other?
Yeah. So just to give you a bit of background, I am a third generation teacher. I love teaching. I love standing in front of people to teach. My
Don't
granddad
tell
was
me
a
you take
teacher.
classes yourself.
I do take classes myself. I do take
Come
classes myself,
on.
and I don't get paid because I passionately love to teach.
Who is going to pay you?
I don't expect to get paid. Let's put it that way. So third generation, my granddad was a teacher, very great teacher. My dad, fantastic teacher. Setting up the training center was just a natural, was inherently built up in me or in me, right in my DNA. My siblings are also trainers in the training center. So my younger brother is one of the finest SEO trainer I've ever met myself, and I'm so proud of him. And it's been very exciting since 2014. It's about this year will make it 12 years since the training center was set up. And for me, I intentionally refused to go digital with the training. I kept it strictly in house because it wasn't just about training, it's about people working together, it's about acculturating, it's about ensuring that people get the finest quality training experience. So, in class training, over 4,000 people have been trained in class. So that's a lot that goes out there. And I'm so proud when I see alumni everywhere. Sometimes I travel around, and I mean, I was in Kent in England a few months ago, and someone walked up to me, and I'm like, and greeted, and I'm like, who are you? He was like, I came to the training center. Look at where I am now. I was able to get a visa after the training. I got a job in England. Look at where I am. He was so excited. He showed me his son. We took selfies, and I was like, wow,
Wow.
this makes me feel like one of those university professors. When you walk down the street, they come up to you and they're like, you remember in year one, 1988, you trained my father. I'm just like, God, how am I going to deal with all of this? But yeah, so I get to see that a lot. I get to see that a lot,
Mm,
even outside the country and in the
mm,
country. And I'm so proud of it. It's just something very fulfilling when you're able to move people from
mm.
point A to
Here
point
to
B.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely very satisfying.
Wow. Wow. Thanks a lot for sharing that. I totally share your sentiment when it comes to being intentional about people development, right? And putting into the hands of people the skills that they need to not just survive out there, but to thrive, and being futuristic about it. Also, not just about the skills that back in the day when you probably went to university, they taught you certain things. I don't know where you schooled, but I schooled back in Nigeria, and at times you are in class and they are teaching you stuff, and you're like, okay, this thing you're teaching me, what is the relevance of of this subject and this topic to not just the economy as of today or to the society as of today, but the emerging society. How are we going to be able to use this thing? You get what I mean? But what you
Right.
are doing, they are so hands-on, they are so relevant, they are so useful that people practically can leave the classroom or finish the course, and there is relevance, and they can immediately begin
Yeah.
to deploy all the things that they've learned. So I think it's something great. Um, we didn't talk a lot about me, but before we started, but my background is in education, right? So
Oh,
I
really?
understand,
Okay.
yeah, and I look after sales capabilities for Reckitt globally now, based in the UK. So
Interesting.
I can relate with, I can relate. This is like what I do. Spend bulk of my time trying to do every day. I don't always take classes, right? But I look after the programs, broadly speaking. But
Right. Right.
this is about you, right? Now, if I look at the timelines, it looks like you started Wild Fusion, or the digital marketing outfit 2010. About 4 years later, you started the
The training
training
center.
outfit,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
And then maybe okay. If we go a little further back, right before before Wide Fusion started, right, or the training outfit and all of that, can you give us a little bit of, about yourself, your education? I know you schooled in England and all of that, but a little bit, and I'm asking that because I want to get into, you know, how did you come by the whole idea of wide fusion, especially in that time and age, right? So that's why I'm asking about your background before I get into that. I hope that makes sense.
Right. 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 Absolutely. So I think I'll take you further down, maybe to my preteens days. So, being a third generation teacher, if you may, you grow up in a place where you have to read a lot. I read my grandfather's books. I read my dad's books. I read Victorian novels, and if you know what Victorian novels are, they are very descriptive. A lot of them are because there were no TVs and radios and all of that media channels back then in Victorian times. Most of the novels were very descriptive. They have to describe, every single thing for you.
Activate people's
So
imagination. Yeah.
imaginations and all of that. So I spent my early days. I read so much. I literally read. I knew something about almost everything as a kid growing up. After secondary school, I got into a number of Nigerian universities. I kept dropping off because I felt I wanted more. I wanted more. I remember getting admission into a particular university, no name. I'm not going to disclose, no matter how much you pressure me. I'm not going to disclose.
Okay, I won't.
And the programming class, when you have a programming lesson, and this was computer science or a programming module or whatever, and the programming lessons or the programming practicals were on handout. And it was
Wow.
so obvious the lecturer
Wow.
probably haven't written a computer program before. Not to play down on Nigerian universities, absolutely great universities around the world. We've had some of our finest brains that we've exported out of the country have come from really, really good universities. Absolutely great platforms. The FAIRs, the Unilag, the Covenant, the Pan Atlantics, the FUTO, great, all over the country, north, east, west, and south. And in my head, I kept saying, this is not what I want. I want more. When you're sitting in a class and you feel like I want I want a lot more than this. So that quest, that yearning, that hunger for more led me to reading a lot more, researching a lot more, intentionally looking to live in the future, being very unorthodox. If everybody goes left, I want to go right. If everybody's going right, I want to go left. What happens? Let's check it out. Just being overly curious. So that led me to where I am, where everybody was on a particular path in the world of marketing or communication. I'm like, no, listen, this is the future. Why don't we live in the future? Why don't we disrupt this? Why don't we try something new? Why can't we be unorthodox? Why can't we take bold decisions, and do things differently? So I'm just giving you a bit of that background, and you can see all of that somehow trickling on my part to starting up Wild Fusion. Yeah, and for the training center, it was so critical because at that time, you couldn't really find the right skills you needed to build an industry. There was no digital marketing training infrastructure or structure or tech center or whatever as of that time. So in my head, it wasn't for profit. It was build capacity. I need this capacity. If we don't have this capacity, how is the industry going to grow? How are we going to expand the business? I can't do everything from SEO to content to creative to strategy or analytics and intelligence and data and all of that. I can do everything. So they have to be some way of taking this capacity and putting it out there to multiple people so that way the industry begin to grow. And I'm so proud of a very huge alumni base that we do have now. Alumni that are actually, creating impact around the world, including the global companies from Microsoft to Apple to TikTok to Google. We do have alumni all in these organizations and also in Nigeria. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very grateful to God for that. I mean, it's all from Him and all through Him. So that is very important for me, and that is how I have evolved as a child. That was my mindset, my posture as a child, coming into the world of business and then starting Wild Fusion and then the training center.
Got it. That is very helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. So in
You're
between your
welcome.
university days and the time that you started Wild Fusion, did you work in any place? Did you do any 9 to 5, or it was all like, I have clarity
Yeah,
on what I want to do. I'm going for it.
I've always known I'll be an entrepreneur. I always knew that. I always
Mm,
knew that. Hence, my degree was in information systems and
mm,
management. And I wanted
mm.
that management side of the degree because it's about managing a business
The
and
business side
managing
of
an
things, yeah.
organization. Yeah, the business side of things.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the podcast. We are super thankful for you taking that time and investing the time to learn. We hope that you find the story inspiring, and beyond that, that you've been able to articulate one or two things that you want to do differently in your own entrepreneurial journey. May I encourage you to please like, subscribe, comment, and please share the word within your own circle of influence, especially within those that you think are on the same entrepreneurial journey with you. May I also encourage you to please, beyond subscribing to our YouTube channel, follow us on our other social media platforms. That means a lot to us, and we can see that that helps us to track that we're making some progress and so making some impact. Thanks a lot once again for taking the time to watch, and to see you on the next episode.